So thank you everybody for jumping on today. Today's webinar is the new era of P&C, creating a thriving employee value proposition with modern budgeting. My name is John. I lead the customer success team here at Wheel, and I'm joined by Olga and Beck today. Olga's from Wheel and Beck is from Perks. I'll let them give a proper introduction to themselves in just a minute, but before we do that, I just want to run through a couple of little housekeeping pieces before we get started. So today's session is all about how HR and finance can align to create a stronger employee value proposition. We'll talk a little bit about the role of real-time spend visibility and empowering employees, and also, I guess, how to remove admin barriers, eliminate budget underutilization, and make smarter data-driven decisions. It is going to be a pretty interactive session today, so please feel free to drop any questions in the Q&A tab. We'll try our best to kind of answer these as we go through the session. But also, if we don't cover any kind of throughout the session, we'll make sure that we answer as many as we possibly can at the end. The session's going to be recorded and will be shared with you afterwards as well. So if there's anyone else within your organization that you feel could benefit from reviewing the chat that we have today, that would be awesome as well. We've allocated about 30 minutes to the actual fireside chat between Olga and Beck as well, but we'll do probably about 5 to 10 minutes of Q&A towards the end. So if you can stick around for all of it, that would be awesome. Without further ado, Olga, I'll pass over to you. And yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, John. Welcome, everyone. So my name is Olga. I'm the head of people and culture at Wheel. I've been with the company for over 3 years now, and I do work very closely with both HR and finance leaders to kind of help streamline their budgeting process, create, I guess, a more meaningful impact and employee experience. And in my role, especially, I've really seen firsthand, especially since working at Wheel, that the relationship between HR and finance has really evolved, and how model tools can help bridge that gap and improve transparency. And I'm very, very excited to be joined by Rebecca McNamara. She's the people and culture manager at Perks. Beck is a very experienced P&C leader, deep experience in employee engagement, well-being. She's also a very valued customer at Wheel. So she's graciously agreed to share her insights, not just on how HR leaders can help build more impactful employee value proposition, but also how Wheel has helped Perks create a more engaged workforce and really strengthen that relationship between HR and finance, which is so critical. So look, welcome back. And really great to have you here, as I've said. Now, maybe to kick things off, let's talk about the bigger picture, I guess. Now, over the past few years, we've seen a massive shift in what employees expect from their workplace. And in your experience, Beck, how have the expectations from employees really changed around benefits, well-being, learning and development, and how have they evolved?
Yeah, look, thanks, Olga. Absolutely. Employee expectations have changed so much in the past few years. Our team, especially here at Perks, they want to feel seen and valued and trusted. And that extends beyond the work and the workplace and what they do. It's how they're supported every day. And it's not just in their professional life, but also in their personal life. So, you know, one thing that's always been a little tricky to navigate is reimbursements, and the pain point where our team members are having to pay upfront for some of the benefits or study and things like that. As we know, particularly over the last 12, 24 months, the living costs have been well documented about how high they are, and you know, the economic environment is not conducive to often reimbursing and having that money just sitting there. And we're looking at big things like, you know, study and, you know, professional programs, and they don't come cheaply. So that's where it's really important that we're looking at a way a bit more innovatively to sort of reduce that pain point for our team members. And that's in our wellbeing initiatives as well. So, you know, what we look to do with Wheel is the Wheel card, and that's where Wheels come in. I've worked very closely with our finance team We're very lucky at Perks that our internal finance team are very innovative in their thinking, and they have that can-do attitude. So, you know, they won't give it, you know, they won't not give anything a go. So, you know, it's really been great that we've been able to integrate with them and collaborate with them. And so, you know, for example, for our team that do Perks is accounting and wealth management. So we have a lot of our young team members going through the Chartered Accounting program. And to do that, they basically get a wheel card and they manage their studies themselves. So when their enrolments come up or they need to enroll, they just enroll via wheel. And then it certainly comes through from an approval process, but our team members don't need to pay up front. They've got that sitting there. So they feel empowered, they feel trusted, and they feel valued that, you know, they are such an important part of our team and that they can just go off and do what they need to do.
I love that, Beck. And a lot of the things that you've just said, we kind of obviously talked about internally as well. And you are very right. Finance now, it's not just about P&C, kind of increasing employee engagement. It's all the teams, and finance can be a huge supporter of that. And just talking about empowerment of employees. So how critical do you think it is for companies to truly empower employees by giving them more control and visibility over the benefits and the financial allowances that they have?
It's absolutely critical. It's vital. You know, team members expect flexibility and trust when it comes to how they access their benefits and you know, the financial team benefits that any organisation provides. No one wants to wait forever for reimbursements. Now, there's still, you know, we still use reimbursements, but we have a system here at Perks where a team member must be reimbursed within 24 hours, you know, and I will often, as soon as it comes through, it doesn't matter when it is, you know, it comes through on my phone. It is so versatile, like it just comes through. I just look at it, I can check it all on my phone and approve it within, you know, a minute. And then that money is in the team member's account, you know, immediately. So, you know, that is really, really important, as we've sort of said in this day and age where, you know, money doesn't grow on trees, as we all know when we grew up. We kept getting told by our parents that, you know, and, you know, most of the time money is spoken for and, you know, people have got specific things that they're saving for and that. So to be able to have that money put back immediately is really important. You know, but having said that, we do love the virtual cards. So, you know, we're looking at how we provide that. And, you know, we do that in a lot of our wellbeing HR initiatives. You know, one example that we did recently was we had a team member who had an experience leaving work that impacted on their safety. So what we did was we quickly got on the phone to our finance manager, created a virtual wheel card for them, and that provided them the option to be able to Uber to work to and from as they needed in the next couple of weeks, as well as some other supports that we could put in place. But, you know, the flexibility and availability of that wheel card to have that done in minutes. You know, I was told of that example at sort of 3:30 in the afternoon, you know, and that team member didn't have the stress or anxiety of having to catch the transport home. They were able to Uber and felt, you know, that safety and security and valued. And I think I got Teams messages for probably about the next 3 weeks about how grateful the team member, how valued they felt, and that they were really, really felt part of the Perks team because of the flexibility and how quick we were able to action that for them. And we were only able to do that using the wheel card.
I love this example, Beth, because that is so important. And we sometimes don't think about those circumstances that are outliers, because obviously, you know, you can use the budgets and set them up, but there are circumstances that I'm sure all of us as professionals have gone through that you do need that quick access. And before, where it was very strenuous, now it's just literally, as you said, maybe one call or not even a call if you're an admin, and you can set that up and the employee immediately has access to it. And something else that you've mentioned to me as an example before, and we talked a little bit about in terms of privacy and pre-approved budgets, and then people do feel more empowered to spend it as long as it's within policy. Talk to me a little bit about how that has helped Perks really make their employees feel a lot more empowered to use the benefits that you offer them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, when we're looking at the virtual card, we set that up on an individual basis. And, you know, once again, we've got a very innovative finance team that, you know, for our wellbeing initiatives, for example, everybody has a wheel account that they can get a reimbursement or a card amount to. And so, you know, when there's things going on that, you know, aren't for public consumption, it's really important that they feel they have trusted advisors and a trusted team, but a trusted system that can support them through what they're going through. And that's where you've got that professional and that personal, you know, work-life balance or integration, as I call it, because let's face it, there's no balance really. We just have to integrate everything, but to be able to do it as seamlessly and confidentially as possible. So for example, in that safety example, you know, that was just between myself, the team member and the finance manager. And that was all done. And, you know, to this day, I couldn't tell you how many times she used that because I haven't needed to do that. But the reporting is there if I need it. And so it's just to be able to provide that peace of mind and flexibility, which, you know, back in the day, it would have been fill out this slip, then it has to go to this person and then that person, and then I'll come back because I think you've missed a number. You know, there's none of that, and it's really instantaneous.
No, that's fantastic. And look, yeah, just to your point earlier on as well, with the cost of living or a younger demographic or a workforce, sometimes they just don't have the funds in the emergency. So to be able to just offer that to them straight away, it is such an important from a safety and well-being perspective thing to be able to do. So love that. And you just mentioned something around tracking and, you know, budgets. So historically, as I'm sure we all have experienced, sometimes HR teams have struggled to track and optimize how well-being or L&D budgets are used. How has real-time data in Will help you provide regular reports or metrics to the stakeholders that you need to provide that to? And how has that helped inform the initiatives that you implement?
Yeah, great question. Because, you know, as HR managers, we provide reporting quite regularly to our key stakeholders. And one of my key metrics is obviously wellbeing initiatives and employee engagement. So, and in this world of HR, we've got things going on all the time. So often I don't get to that report or remember to do that report till the day before. So to be able to just pop into my Wheel account and look at, okay, our wellbeing initiative, for example, is that we provide a subsidy for the Calm app. And we provide that through Wheel. So I can just search Calm and I can see within seconds how many of our team members have subscribed, that we've provided the subsidy for. And to be honest, it's not that high at the moment. So that then allows us to go, okay, whilst we were looking at this for our psychological safety component of wellbeing, probably not quite hitting the mark yet because we've only got this amount of people actually, participating in that initiative. So, you know, that then allows us to get the wheels moving. See what I did there? And look at other initiatives. And with the flexibility of Wheel, we can implement them very quickly. And so that we don't have that lag or that restriction or that pain point. We can just go, okay, well, that's not working. And, you know, probably a really good example in that is that, yes, we said the Calm app, but we then had questions around, oh, can I use Headspace? Yeah, 100%. and there was nothing, we didn't have to get approvals or anything like that. It all fit within the criteria that we were providing. So we just did that reimbursement there. So, you know, it provides us with flexibility of products. So you're not tied to one specific initiative, you know, and specific supplier. You can be really flexible in that to support your team members.
I love that, Beck. And look, truthfully, at Will, we do exactly the same thing. And that live data is so important to us. So we have team bonding budgets, for example, that are monthly. And sometimes we see them utilized very quickly and effectively. Other times it gives us a prompt because it's all about the employee experience and we want people to feel connected and have that. So we actually prompt sometimes the managers if we're seeing, oh, you haven't spent your budget for this quarter. Maybe it's time for you to get on that. So it just gives us that access immediately. Or we have coffee allowances, for example, and we see that people are loving that. So, you know, last year we upped the coffee allowance because it was one of the perks that they loved. It wasn't huge, but, you know, they really enjoy that. So we knew that if we double down on that, it's what people are actually wanting. So I love those. So maybe then to the next point, because everything that we're talking about, which is like tracking the budgets, ROI, working within the finance teams, can you talk me a little bit through, which you've touched on already, but how has Perks worked to strengthen the collaboration between HR and finance by implementing solutions like Will to be able to kind of collectively experiment or have the collaborative meetings to kind of review the data and see where you could pivot? Can you talk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So, you know, obviously, you know, tracking and the reporting on our wellbeing and learning and development initiatives, budgets, it used to be, you know, quite arduous. And it was one of those frogs that you would put in the corner and you'd need the special time to actually eat that frog because there was just so much and it was so overwhelming. Will has really simplified that and provided a really easy way in which we can pull data, we can see our spend in real time. We can use that data then to forecast as well. So, you know, we can go, okay, you know, for example, with our flu vaccinations, you know, how many took up the actual vaccination, how many took up the voucher, you know, do we continue to offer and those sorts of things. So, you know, it does allow us to constantly review and collaborate. And finance, you know, we meet sort of monthly to talk all things finance. But my finance manager will say I teams her a lot more regularly than that because it's like, hey, but it is just so easy to get your head around and have an understanding. And it's almost too easy in the sense that you go, is this actually right? You know, because I feel like I should be doing more, but, you know, and we've been able to, with that access to that real spend data, we have been able to pivot and we have been able to go, okay, well, we can now do this as opposed to that. Whereas generally, when you're looking at invoices and things, which, you know, you still do need to do, you know, some things via invoicing in the, you know, in the corporate style, that's never in real time. So there's always that lag, which makes it quite difficult to reconcile your budget and your information and to see where you're at. But all things we do with Will, we can make those decisions instantaneously. And it also, you know, gives you confidence when you're going to, you know, your CEO or your head of, because you can say, I know categorically this is what I've got to spend from that Wheel account because it's all there and it's all done and it's all hit. So, you know, you're not thinking, oh, I thought I did this and I can't see it. You know, and you've got full trust in that system, which is brilliant. For a non-finance person, it is amazing.
I love that, Beck. That's I agree with you totally. Being a P&C leader, it's definitely a much more productive way of doing it. And truthfully, pulling on that thread a little bit more as well, I mean, in our roles, but especially for finance teams as well, we're so used to previously having to really chase people constantly on receipts, on reconciling their expenses, on managing a single company card. Our founder, Dan, actually always has a funny story with one of the first customers that we've ever signed up, where they literally had one company card that they passed around the entire office, but then no one really knew who spent what on what. How has Will, I guess, eliminated some of these manual processes that really take up so much time, but they're low impact things that we have to do so that we can focus more on the strategic high impact work?
I think, to your point, having the different accounts all based in the wheel and being able to I use my wallet, and I'm a little bit older, so it's a whole new process for me to use my phone to pay. I'm used to the card, but to be able to do that and then to look at it and go, yep, that's hit the right account, but if not, I can change it. And often too, because we have the trust and we've empowered a lot of our team members, when the approvals come through, it's a really quick check. And I just have to check one line and go, that says L&D, but actually I think it's more entertainment, and I can swap it out, or I can just message Jenny and go, Jenny, I think this needs to be moved, and it's like, yep, done, no problem. So, where you would have to allocate, at least maybe 1 to 2 hours a week, just reconciling and looking through and checking budgets and going through, it certainly gives you more time back to be able to work on those initiatives and those, really important P&C L&D programs and wellbeing and engagement.
No, I completely agree with you. And look, yeah, we always also encourage, I think it's like a thing that people just get used to. They just snap the receipt also with their phone immediately, just upload it into the app, and it's all done. And
yeah, I do have one outstanding. I will be honest and transparent. I do need to get one done.
You have the card blocking feature? Is it 7 days yet, Beck?
Not yet. I normally get in at 6 days, but
oh, there you go. I love that. And by the way, Beck, so also you were saying the phone payment with the phones. I'll speak to John. We'll need to make sure that maybe we'll get your physical card out as well. If that's something that's
I have to look, because I'm going, oh no, I'm paying for my own groceries, so I have to swap it around in my wallet. But I'm getting really good at that for an older person. I'm nailing it.
I love it, Beck. And look, maybe I guess looking ahead, how do you see the role of HR evolving when it comes to budgeting, making data-driven decision for employee programs, if you see it evolving?
Yeah, look, I think we're using it really innovatively at the moment. So, I just go back to our staff, our service milestones for our leaders, for all of our team members who have hit sort of 5, 10, those key milestones. When I started a couple of years ago, we had someone that would contact the team member, ask them what voucher they would like, and we'd often have 5 or 6 of these a month, you know what I mean? And then they would physically go to each of these different stores or spend time online purchasing all these separate vouchers and then hand delivering them. And now, we just give them the amount on a wheel card, and they can go and spend it wherever they like, and, when they like. So I think, from the perspective of, how we see it evolving, I think it's just really looking at how we do what we do and go, can we do that differently? And, I've said this because I do have to shout out to our finance manager, because, she is extremely innovative and has that can-do approach. So, how it evolves is you just got to ask the question, how can we do this more effectively and, providing the best team member experience and working together on whether it works. And sometimes it might not work at this particular point because of the way we do things. And then we go, okay, well, if it's blocking here, what is it that we can do to remove that? And, Jenny's really good at going, well, if we do this or do that, then that will work. And then we give it a try and a test. And, because, for example, we have all of our team members have a wellbeing wheel, and that way they can, and it's already set up. So, they can just use their wellbeing initiatives based on our guidelines and criteria. And it's all done ready. And if they need a reimbursement, there's no setting up of anything because it's already done. So, and they can just access that way. Same, with any conferences and things, and the time that it takes to set that up is very minimal.
No, that's great. I really appreciate that. And I completely agree with you. I think now that we have this opportunity to actually set up the policies, so then you do have confidence that the spend that is going in, it's almost, again, eliminating so much of the back and forth and having to triple check everything and people feeling like they have to wait for it. So look, Beck, thank you so much for all of your insights. Really appreciate your time. I think this has been so exciting for me to actually be able to speak to our customers and see the real life impact, but also to see kind of other HR leaders and what they think is evolving within the market and what employees expect. So really appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
And I think we might now go to John for the Q&A because...
Yeah, excuse me, just sitting in the corner looking creepy for the last 25 minutes. That was a very insightful conversation, and thank you both for jumping on and obviously sharing your insights. It's super helpful to hopefully everyone on the webinar. That being said, opening up the chat to, I guess, any questions that anyone's got, whether that be related to kind of the initiatives that Olga and Beck are running at their respective companies, or whether you've got any questions kind of about the wheel product or anything like that. We're happy to kind of answer anything that might be top of mind at the moment. Cool. Doesn't look like there's a lot of questions, which means I guess you guys gave too good an insight into your initiatives, which is
Stop it.
Awesome. Look, guys, thank you everybody for attending. Really appreciate you coming along. Again, this session was recorded and we're happy to share this with you after as well. If anyone has any questions post the fact, feel free to reach out to our support team at help@letswheel.com as well, and they'll forward you on to kind of the correct place